Chat, here we go. We have Shadi versus Atomic as our first match today. Shadi is a player from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia who we've had on a few times and is certainly a top level 1s player. He is going to test his skill against Atomic, who I believe is still somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly where, if he stayed in Germany after Worlds or moved to another place to boot camp before playing in Gamers 8. We're going to see how he fares against Shadi on 120 ping. Wow, not a great server for Shadi, it doesn't seem. 132 ping is actually really bad. We're on the EU servers. Atomic getting 30 ping to whatever server we picked here. Atomic has always been a talented 1v1er, but hasn't really been in the Showmatch scene as much as some other players. But even before Gamers 8 had really got into full swing when they were just trying to qualify, I think G2 might have had to play through the qualifier. Atomic expressed interest in getting involved in the 1v1 game, and right now he's up early, but Shadi is going to be able to capitalize on a missed aerial attack. Is Atomic in Saudi? He is not in Saudi. Certainly not with this 16 ping on EU servers. He is probably in Germany still, but he could just be somewhere else in EU as well. I think he said he was on a train to Berlin or something like that. So I have a feeling he's just at another location in Germany. We'll have to see how this unlikely matchup turns out. I don't think anybody was necessarily expecting to see an Atomic versus Shadi match, but I do think that it is a fairly equal match between the two of them. Atomic certainly has had more success in the 3s scene, as he has had an illustrious career, and honestly, he finished very high due to his wildcard results. You guys know how much I love the AI that Halfway Dead puts up, that, you know, unbiased in its way of evaluating players. Had Atomic at number 3 for the entirety of Worlds, including the wild card, and maybe it's because defense like that, an absurd save from Atomic to keep Shadi from tying the game. But I do think Shadi is a little bit more experienced in the 1 scene. I think he plays in a bit of a tougher 1s region, and he's currently rated 30 on the 1s leaderboard. He's had some solid results against players in EU, but Atomic is looking like the better player right now. Shadi just tapped that one right down into Atomic's car, setting him up for the easy goal. I'd be interested to see what chat thinks in terms of prediction. They are heavily in favor of Atomic. 74% of the prediction went in Atomic's favor. I don't think that it's that heavy. I don't know if that's just me being crazy. Maybe before I give all my opinion on what the prediction should be, I should end submissions before people take my advice. But as Shadi ties the game up right here after ending submissions, I gotta say, I think it's closer to 50-50. It's a little bit of a wild card when you have somebody who doesn't play as much 1s like Atomic does. I think you could see Atomic peaking with the best of the best. Certainly if he puts in, you know, a little bit of time to the game mode. It's hard to imagine him not being able to square up against almost anyone in the game. But when you're playing maybe your first 1 show match, or maybe even first 1's game, I don't know how much ranked Atomic is playing recently, he might be a bit outmatched at first. You swear Shadi's name just changed in game? Yeah, sometimes the names do change, either because the players change them, or I sometimes give nicknames to players. Any player who uses, changes their name too much, I just put nicknames in on Steam. And sometimes I think the Steam nickname will overwrite whatever was there before. It'll put in, like, after a certain amount of time, it'll put in what I have their name as. So I definitely have Shadi's name in as Shadi, so maybe it just erased whatever name he has and put in my Steam nickname for him. Atomic, what a save. He has been absolutely otherworldly in net so far. But can he keep it up? Seems like he has. He's convinced Shadi to flick too high, and that is what you get when you absolutely demolish everything that's on target. You start convincing players to reach for the edges, and sometimes they'll miss high. I think every time we've had Shadi on, somebody has mentioned the Shadi being like a melody in their head. Atomic, the reset shots. 6-4 as Shadi backing off the ball at the midfield to get the back corner. Such a quick pop of the ball. From reset to flip happens so quickly. But there's really nothing Shadi can do in terms of adjusting. It's one of the benefits of that late grab of the reset. Oh my goodness, Atomic! Atomic is in the zone, and he is punishing Shadi right now. He says, you keep waiting on the goal line like this, bud, and I'll keep slotting top shelf shots. You're going to have to come meet me in the air, or you're just going to have to watch the air show. I think the biggest lead we've seen so far this game, and this is almost perfectly what I'm talking about when I talk about this matchup between Shadi and Atomic. Sure, Atomic can do absolutely everything in the air, but sometimes 1v1 is about just rolling the ball directly at your defender and low 50ing it in for a goal. The reality is, both of those are worth the same amount of points, and I think Shadi will be a little bit more prepared to farm out those goals. Atomic, very passive defense, but active passive defense, if that makes sense, as he moves behind the ball a ton to cover every Shadi angle, but never actually turning to make a play on the ball. Atomic, little camera check to see what he's dealing with here with Shadi. I think that first touch on the wall was too strong to make anything out of this offensive take, but he does well to stick with the ball, try and reset his possession. Shadi, though, 50ing him in the corner to stop him there. He's going to try and demo for sure. Atomic just barely able to evade. So now Shadi getting convinced to flick early by the fake challenge, and Atomic recovers to make the save. Atomic in net right now. That has been the reason why he's done so well. Shadi just missed. Shadi tried to rush it a little bit, but that definitely should have been a goal, and not one that he can afford to miss the way Atomic's been playing. Look at Atomic. All he needs to do is slightly adjust the bounce of this ball to get Shadi to miss. Lands on the opposite side and chips it directly to the center of the net. Atomic zap dashing his way back to this ball. Has 100 boost to work with and wants to force the issue as Shadi recovers, and it's a bit of a dangerous game to play. You have to be perfect with those. If you're wrong about the timing and the defender is back, this is a free counterattack. It always has been in 1v1. Not to say that it's not impossible to play those backboard doubles. Shadi grabs the midfield boost, and that keeps him alive in this game. He's going to have a Atomic recovering all the way to net. Shadi flicking left. And he got Atomic to jump early. Maybe because he's expecting a shot near post or an air dribble that he has to get over, but despite the creative flip or the impressive flip at an awkward angle to attack towards the ball, it's not going to work out. A fake kickoff to ice out the game is a good idea from Atomic. Now floating behind the ball, handed possession away. Shadi certainly has the boost to work with, but he just can't afford to lose possession. He has to keep the ball above his car to start a dribble across the whole map. And Atomic, great recognition to realize not to leave and play into Shadi's hands, but instead capitalize on the fact that he can't afford the ball to hit the ground. So a dunk and a game one win for Atomic as he looks to try and take a best of 5 against Shadi. We'll see if Shadi wants a different server. That could have been one of the reasons why he left. Shadi, do you want a different server? Because that was like 120 ping or something. No. Okay. He likes this server. Sounds good to me, if you say so. Bro's about to leave the party and rejoin without his controller plugged in. No. No, it's not. Oh, 1 minute. Can I reset it? Will the game still count down? Ah, whatever. Whatever. I will reset when he is ready. No problem. You can drive around. Yeah, maybe chat wants a pogo. Maybe Atomic will give us a pogo. Okay, now he knows. He wasn't. The last time he was mid-flight. Here we go. Didn't like the setup. Didn't like the setup. All right, this is it. This is the beautiful setup. Couldn't ask for a better one. No reset on the pogo. Just the pogo shot. Hey! W pogo. He says, my bad. No, dude, it counts. Count it. All right, game number 2, Atomic and Shadi. Shadi, a little bit of regaining to do. Are we going to see a new self here, Atomic? I like that defense from Atomic. It's something that has become more of the meta in ones recently, those really high challenges on air dribbles. And it's definitely the right way to defend in 3v3 and other game modes. Because, you know, I think Atomic is more used to those anyways. He's one step ahead. Once upon a time, would have been a mistake to try and defend that high up in ones, but that's where the game has shifted now. You have to stop players from dribbling because they're all way too talented. Atomic losing control of this ball. He's trying to pogo. He is continuing the pogo request. I don't know if we'll end up keeping it in the video, but we had Atomic do a pogo because Shadi needed a minute before the start of this game. And it was not nearly as good as the pogo in-game. His pogo when he had no defender was actually quite weak. That pogo stood a chance, but Shadi was able to stop it. Shadi's going to start this one off with a flick. Atomic just not even able to pick up that back corner boost either, so in a tough spot trying to defend. What were your thoughts on AJG's pogo at Worlds? Oh, it's beautiful. I love those pogo shots too, especially when there's actually a bit of distance between the pogo and the shots. Because a lot of them are done where basically at the same time the ball hits the car as the car hits the ground. But AJG had to like really pogo and go out to reach the ball just a little bit, which led to a very aesthetically pleasing shot. Shadi is going to put on another aesthetically pleasing shot as Atomic tries his best to make up for his mistake earlier where he gave Shadi too much space. This time he closes the distance and Shadi shows that he can carry it across the whole field for a reset as well. So it's going to come down to winning these kickoffs and preventing that Shadi possession. Atomic diving into the back corner. Gets himself killed, so it'll be Shadi across the whole map. Gets the reset around midfield and tries to get a 50 on Atomic. Great control by Atomic to guarantee this goal. He needed to make sure that he got a nice ground pinch. Otherwise, Shadi would have recovered. Okay, I've seen like 4 Shadis like a melody in my head now. It seems like everybody as they come in and they see Shadi cannot resist it. Atomic able to follow up off a aggressive kickoff into the back corner of Shadi with a second goal. It's because you're saying it wrong. I was told that that's how Shadi was pronounced, by the way. You guys are saying that you think it should be Shady. Or that it reads like Shady. But to be fair, I think even the Arabic-speaking people who are explaining to me how to say Shadi, I still don't say it right? Because I don't say the perfect, you know, sounds, Arabic sounds, I'm sure. But I was informed that Shadi is closer than Shady. So that's what I've stuck with. And Shadi is sticking with these air dribbles because they've been working well. This time, the reset, just like Atomic, outside the nets, but he needs to follow it up with a dunk. Correct pronunciation by Feer. Hey, Nawis, you know, he is a guy to trust. That's one of the hardest things to do as a Twitch streamer. Know who to trust. But you see that big purple check mark, that means you can't possibly be wrong. That's what they give that to. They give that to people who couldn't possibly be wrong. Atomic, not one to turn down an opportunity in a dribble. And while it wasn't the cleanest of setups, actually it was a pretty clean setup, Atomic will make it work. Reset crossbar down and double. Absolute beauty of a shot. I say it wasn't a clean setup because it started with, you know, a huge cleared ball to the side wall, but actually the bounce off the corner was about as perfect as you could hope for. Atomic able to keep this kickoff goal out as Shadi started with an early lead. Can Atomic bring it back? You know, both these guys are playing very comfortable in their 1v1s. Air dribble bump from Atomic to tie it up. And you wonder if they'll be able to have the same kind of confidence when they're playing those best of ones in Gamers 8s. So often, I think, not only the increased prize pool and the increased, you know, stakes of the game, but also the fact that you only get to play one game really can make players play a lot more reserved than they otherwise would. A lot of ones players who are elite to the game mode are good at series of ones games. Good at reading opponents, good at adjusting over time, good at threatening things for maybe a single game or the majority of a single game before adjusting. Not something you're going to get away with in Gamers 8 as it comes up in a couple weeks. You are going to have to win essentially the first and only game. You know, sometimes you might get a repeat in certain series, but especially the way that teams like to pick against 1v1. They always seem to pick 2v2 when given the option, or 3v3. I don't think they're allowed to in Gamers 8 because every other game is 3v3, but even in other formats that don't require a certain mode, people seem to avoid 1v1. Shadi had a great start, but Atomic, a huge burst to retake a multi-gold lead like he had at the end of game 1. Atomic with 0 boost now on the back wall. This is a position that Shadi is going to have to come out the better of if he wants to win this game. I think Atomic was able to reset on boost in the corner. Shadi's dribble transitioned into a bump just a bit too late as he was not able to keep Atomic off the ball. He was worried about clearing this ball away. Atomic heads to the backboard. And even though he doesn't score, it's really not the end of the world, not with this 3-goal lead late. All that matters is that Atomic controls the ball still. And as I say that, just about gets rid of it. No, he turns it back and plays on the ball. Turns back and plays on the ball. Just refuses to let up on the pressure, but Shadi recognizes the way Atomic is playing, gets the ball out ahead of him, and beats him to the nets. 26 seconds for some kickoff magic from Shadi. He should be the player with the more well-rounded ones kickoffs, and here is Atomic wave dash kickoffing to get possession. Shadi thought he was going to be able to beat him in the race to the midfield and did a first flip out that way. Once he realized he lost, he did his best to try and shoot and punish, but did not succeed. Atomic gives up possession. Shadi lost the bounce on his dribble, had to cut to regain it, and Atomic's going to let it go 90% of the way in before saving it, and will secure gain number 2 as well, even though Shadi does flick this into the top shelf. He's out of the match again. Atomic has won by a slim margin. He's got himself up 2-0 against a very talented 1v1er. Shadi into the Octane in an attempt to pull off what has been a couple tough games. It'll have to be a full reverse sweep for Shadi, as Atomic seems to have never left the flow state this entire match so far and has no reason to leave it now. What a powerful shot. Atomic with a ripper 107 km/h shot after the demo. Shadi thought he could have got there. He's watching this replay back to see which pixel didn't touch the ball. Atomic, he seems to be well-rounded in the ways of 1v1. His wave dash kickoff seems to be where it needs to be, and he knows to bump away a Shadi. Sees him on the wrong side of the map. Atomic doing his best to try and pre-flip into the corner for boost. Shadi is prioritizing all the boosts on the map over possession. Still wasn't able to keep Atomic from snagging his own back corner. He wants a demo now. This should be a goal by all means. Shadi on the board. Got his first goal before the first minute mark. There is another match after this. We're going to have Nush versus OSM. Nush was playing great yesterday. OSM is in Germany as he preps for Gamers 8. I think he might be playing ones for his team, or who knows, now that Flitz is playing for Gaming Gladiators. You could definitely see Flitz playing that team's 1v1s as well. What a save by Atomic. Atomic, this match has been won by his defense, by his goal line defense as well. There are ways to play defense to prevent these shots in the first place, but Atomic has instead elected to just work his magic with the ball 50% of the way into the goal. Atomic to the skies as Shadi tries to pre-jump. Shadi diving in on Atomic. Atomic doing such a good job of playing keep away, and Shadi didn't like his angle on that pre-jump back to the ball. You could tell he's probably going to overshoot the arc of the dribble, so he tried to go back down, but it's too little too late. Shadi, oh my, I was going to say, if Atomic, I wanted to wait to say that Shadi had scored it because Atomic has earned that right with how close he's gotten to some of those saves, but that truly would have been the sign that it is over for Shadi if Atomic somehow kept that out. Try not to put a random KSA player in a Showmatch challenge. Showmatch impossible challenge. Darren, Shadi qualified on his own to, I think it was Fear Fest finale. Nice save by Shadi. Up against many 1v1 players I'm sure you would not consider random. And it's also top 30 in the world. I think quite the appropriate matchup for Atomic, but Atomic has been playing at a very high level. Most importantly, he seems to be getting the advantage off kickoffs, the kind of space that players less used to 1v1 have trouble with. Atomic, first touch reset to the ceiling. Shadi is able to intercept it and wants Atomic to back off the ball very clearly. Atomic threatening though. Leads to the Shadi testing shots. Now he has Atomic in net. Can he break him down? Not the best of setups, but the low 50 is covered, and Shadi will roll it back into the other side of the nets. Feer made a name for himself scouting random players. Yeah, it's... I wouldn't say... First off, Shadi's not a random player. But it's all about, you know, seeing who can take down anybody. If we could just have, you know, Jack play Jorias over and over and over again to the dawn of time. But the reality is there is a lot of hungry players looking to make their name and take over in 1v1. And I would be glad to give them the showcase to do it. I think what we should say, though, is we should give Atomic credit. Because I promise you that this is a very equal match coming into it. And Atomic has just been playing to a level above. Atomic sending this ball a bit too strong. Not able to 50 it. Shadi, decent placement, but Atomic gets the save. He sees Shadi, or he sees that Atomic had left open the top right corner. And even though it was a soft shot, it didn't seem to matter because as long as he put it there should have been no way that Atomic got back. But Atomic found a way back, and now Shadi, a great shot off the bounce, using his side flip right as it lands to slot it over the top of Atomic. You know it's a good shot if it gets past Atomic the way he's been defending today. And anybody who can make goal line saves like Atomic has can really start to make someone's offense look silly because they start searching for any answer and can start outplaying themselves in a desperate attempt to finally get through. Atomic reset low. Shadi able to get the save. Might have a counter too. He's going to pop it high to himself and look for a hook shot here. Just goes low, but slams it directly at Atomic. And sometimes hook shots just work. Atomic's going to throw the whoops. I want to watch it from his perspective. It was a quick shot, and I don't think there's a lot of decision-making to be done. I mean, Atomic wanted to slow down and probably save that with the head of his car, but there's something to be said about Shadi forcing the issue, making him defend quickly. Shadi now with the advantage and a minute left to go. One thing that I think Shadi has not been doing well is midfield play. He's been trying to play it slower than Atomic is going to allow him to. Atomic's speed has forced Shadi to be uncomfortable, and this is what I'm talking about right here. Atomic turns this one in for a shot attempt. Shadi just barely able to make his way back, but now he's pinned back. And the way Atomic has been playing, it seems like Atomic will certainly find a way through. And not a bad decision from Atomic to just launch the ball to a place that Shadi has absolutely no chance of interfering with, not with only 10 boosts to work with. And then Shadi did his best to pre-jump the eventual angle. It's not over for him yet, as he now is tied up in game 3. Atomic slots it bottom left. It's not looking great now. As solid as Shadi has been, Atomic setting up this wave dash touch on the side wall, getting back to the ball quickly. I mean, it's just been his speed. He has played at a whole gear ahead of Shadi. Shadi has a chance with 5 seconds left to go. The glory could be in his hands. The reset, the dribble. Atomic sends it to the ground, and it's a sweep. Atomic 3-0 over Shadi. Some close games at the end, but clearly it was Atomic's day.